Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 97 based on novel. So let's start. Huyang City, City Lord's mansion, inside the underground quiet room of the Star Tower. Two Luophones were sitting cross-legged, one was a perfect divine body, the other was a world life form. After such a long time, Luophone's perfect divine body had already recovered to perfection by absorbing energy with the help of the small universe. The energy reserve of the world life form also reached 60% of the perfect divine body. Blood Shadow Knife. Luophone, the perfect divine body, held the Blood Shadow Knife in his hand. Secret patterns appeared on the surface of the Blood Shadow Knife, containing an endless aura of destruction. I have now realized 3 of the 6 attacks of the Chaos Cave, and the secrets of these 3 attacks have been integrated into the Blood Shadow Knife. Luophone looked at the Blood Shadow Knife. The Blood Shadow Knife is a killing weapon after all, and its development is centered on the path of destruction. In terms of killing, the Great Tao of Destruction definitely surpasses the Great Tao of Life. The Great Tao of Life and Death, that combines the two into one, is even more terrifying, but there is no clear Great Tao guidance, and the progress is too slow. Luophone has realized more than 10 kinds of the God King level secrets of the path of life and death, but he has not realized a single branch of the Great Tao. From this, we can see how difficult it is to open up a path. It can be foreseen. It is definitely much easier to realize the complete path of destruction than to realize the complete path of life and death. The Blood Shadow Knife is naturally more suitable for carrying the path of destruction. After the secret method is imprinted, holding the Blood Shadow Knife, you can use 3 of the 6 mixed hole attacks with a little stimulation. Luophone looked at the Blood Shadow Knife. The requirements for the mind and will are much lower. This is the advantage of the weapon, that you nurture yourself. It fits you perfectly, and the mental burden of using the moves is extremely low. In this way, during the battle, the mind and will can use many other moves. 1/10 of my world life form, holding the Blood Shadow Knife, can perform the 6 strike of mixed holes. It is estimated that the power is close to Brother Guaishu and Brother Wuxin, but it is not necessary. Luophone knew very well. With many clones, he can entangle the Lord of Qianquan. Some emperors and monarchs of the 2 ancient countries can still tolerate it. If the first level of the God King reaches the level of Emperor Guaishu and Wuxin God King, it is hard to say what those emperors and monarchs will think. When my strength is further improved and I am completely fearless of any strong man in the origin continent, the situation will be much better. Under the guidance of several special inheritances, Luophone has a clear direction to reach the origin continent without fear of any strong man. Multiple directions are parallel. The improvement of the Great Tao is fundamental, but it needs to be done step by step, and it cannot be rushed. On the contrary, my spiritual will has already reached a bottleneck. I can try to break through to the level of surpassing the God King at the first level of the God King. Luophone has this plan. In this era on the origin continent, there are 3 people whose spiritual will has reached the level of surpassing the God King. Emperor Qing and the Lord of the 10,000 Realms both broke through their spiritual will after they realized the complete Great Tao. Emperor Moth is at the 2nd stage of the God King realm, and his mind and will have reached beyond the God King level. As a perfect divine body, his soul foundation is beyond the contemporary level and is much more solid than that of Emperor Moth. With a deeper foundation and the legendary art passed down by Yuan, Luophone asked himself that he could try to break through the first level of the Divine King. Among the treasures left by Yuan, the Dream Realm is the most suitable for the Great Destruction Refining Heart method. Luophone was very interested in the treasure land Dream Realm. This time, I will bring 1/10 of the world's life energy reserve. Luophone's mind moved. The huge world life form immediately allocated 1/10 of its energy reserves and transformed into the figure of Luophone in silver. Such a large amount of energy reserve is enough for Luophone to create many clones. After entering the Dreamland this time, I can also take root in the Dreamland and use the Dreamland environment to practice the Great Destruction Refining Heart method. Luophone was looking forward to it. There are many kinds of treasure lands left by Yuan. For example, Tianhe is especially suitable for practitioners of the water attribute Han Yuan bloodline. But Luo Feng has no interest at all. The dream realm is mysterious and wonderful, and it breeds all kinds of strange treasures. However, the deeper the dream realm is, the greater the impact on the mind. If you go too deep into it, you may fall into a deep sleep, as if you are in a dream, and you may never wake up. Luo Feng likes this environment very much. 3 days later. The towering mountain Huangyao Mountain, which is trillions of kilometers high, the convener of this operation, Emperor Guishu, had already arrived. Emperor Guishu, wearing green armor and looking old, stood on the top of Huangyao Mountain waiting. Brother Guishu. The woman in black, God King Yunqian, has arrived. When the members of the Samsara building move, they will hide their aura and change their appearance. God King Yunqian's aura is now restrained and ordinary. They are here too. Emperor Guishu looked into the distance. 2 figures arrived one after the other. One is a tall, thin figure wearing a mask. The other is a figure with black scale armor and golden horns. Is this Brother Luo He? Emperor Guishu, God King Yunqian, God King Wuxin, and all of them looked at Luo Feng's disguise with a smile. The 3 of them were familiar with each other, but this was the first time they saw Luo Feng in disguise. How do you feel? Luo Feng asked with a smile. His changing appearance borrowed some features from the golden horned beast. It is indeed completely different from usual. Wu Xinshen Wang exclaimed, Brother Luo He, your previous body had a very strong breath of life. But this body now contains the breath of destruction. Luo Feng thought to himself, since it has no form or appearance, it can change in any way it wants. In the origin continent, there are many people who are good at the great Tao of destruction. Emperor Guishu also nodded, there are also several people who have the skill of clones. There are only 9 origin roads in the Supreme Rule test. Each origin road has some God Kings practicing, but there are also differences in the number. The God Kings practicing the time origin road are the rarest. The next 3 roads like cause and effect, extreme point, and infinite are relatively difficult to get started, and there are relatively few God Kings practicing. Space, matter, world, life, and destruction are relatively easy to get started, and there are more God Kings practicing. But the one that has been cultivated the most is undoubtedly the great Tao of destruction origin. After all, everyone will study the means of killing during the growth process. Wuxin, please take us in. Emperor Guishu said. Okay. The God King Wuxin responded. Buzz. An invisible force instantly enveloped the 4 people present, and they felt the flow of energy. Luo Feng and the other 4 were perfectly integrated into the operation of the laws between heaven and earth. This? Luo Feng was a little shocked. They were clearly there, but the light, space fluctuations, and breath sensing all ignored them, and even the cause and effect became blurred. All means of spying on the laws governing the operation of heaven and earth are being blurred. No wonder the Yangfeng ancient country besieged and killed the God King Wuxin several times, and even sent out the emperor to do so, but he was able to escape. In the end, he reincarnated on his own initiative. Luo Feng realized the horror of this escape method. Let's go. Wu Xinshen Wang Chao Luo Feng blinked and showed off his escape method. Call. The 4 of them flew between heaven and earth in an instant, and in a trance, they had already crossed half of the origin continent. The entrance to the dream realm is in front of us. The God King Wuxin looked ahead. Ahead was a dark canyon, so dark that it swallowed up all light and all perception, and even the God King could hardly peer inside. The entrance to the dream realm was strangely constructed, and it was impossible to arrange a stable formation. The God King Wuxin explained with a smile, but the 2 ancient countries sent God Kings to form a mobile formation to cover the entrance. Luo Feng was the only one present who had not been in, and the God King Wuxin was obviously explaining to Luo Feng. I will try to enter from a place later. There is a high probability that they will not be able to find me. If they are discovered, we will have to take action. The God King Wuxin grinned. Wuxin and I can do it. Guishu Emperor said. Call. Luo Feng and the other 3 immediately flew into the dark canyon. Buzz. The moment he flew in, Luo Feng felt an invisible force pulling at his spiritual will, but with the strength of his will, he was able to easily resist it. This is a dark world. The world is floating and distorting. There is an invisible and vast formation affecting this area. This vast area at the entrance to the dream realm is occupied by the two ancient nations, and they also use this to block the entrance. Spiritual Heart God King said his speed of escape was relatively slow, trying not to arouse perception. The two formations of the two ancient nations also cooperate with each other to intercept all entrance. Luo Feng secretly sighed. When Yuan stayed in the dream realm, there was no threshold. Instead, it made it extremely difficult to enter. Luo Feng saw a towering white figure sitting cross-legged in the distance. The figure had a vast aura and was the node of a huge formation. If he fought with him, it would cause the entire formation to counterattack. It's the royal family of the Thunder Ancient Country. The Wuxin Divine King glanced at it. It seems that this area is blocked by the Thunder Ancient Country. He is guarding a rare treasure. Yunqian God King transmitted the message. Luo Feng also saw that in front of the tall white figure sitting cross-legged, there was a black fruit tree growing. There were 666 fruits on the tree, which were obviously not fully ripe. The rare treasures at the entrance to the dream realm all belong to the two ancient nations, so there's no need to fight with them here. Let's go deeper. The deeper we go, the better the treasures we will find, said the Wuxin Divine King. The formation of the Thunder Ancient Country was restrained, but the Wuxin God King still did not dare to be careless. After flying for a long time, the rumbling sound was heard. There are golden chains crossing the void, covering a vast area, carefully blocking and investigating every place. We are now entering the area covered by the Yangfeng Ancient Nations formation. The Wuxin Divine King was very familiar with it. Normally, the two ancient nations would fight fiercely, but to block the entrance to the dream realm, they directly joined forces. They are too greedy to eat. Guishu Emperor also said, it forces the idol god kings to stick together. Luo Feng nodded. Completely blockade, no chance at all. If Luo Feng acted alone, he would not be able to break through the two major formations in front and behind the two ancient countries. Of course, this time the four of them were escaping all the way, and the two large formations, including several royal gods they met by chance, were unaware of it. Because the flying speed was relatively slow, it took a full half-day before it completely flew out of the vast area of the entrance to the dream realm. I flew out of the range of their formation. Wuxin Divine King laughed. So what? What about the two ancient nations? They can't even detect my escape method. Amazing. Luo Feng exclaimed. Brother Wuxin's escape method is the most powerful I have ever seen. God King Yunqian also praised. Ha ha. The God King Wuxin laughed happily. Luo Feng had the opportunity to spy on the operation of the entire Supreme Rules, so he could better understand the horror of the escape technique of the Wuxin God King. This escape technique was like escaping into the operation of the entire Supreme Rules. Wuxin's escape technique is the ultimate secret technique, hidden sky escape technique. Guishu Emperor said, in the entire origin continent, there are not many escape techniques that can catch up with Wuxin. Luo Feng was amazed. It was extremely difficult to comprehend the secret method of the ultimate realm at the second level of the Divine King realm. Of course, Master Di Chu also did it. Master must realize the secret method of the ultimate life form. After realizing it, one needs to use many precious treasures to become an ultimate life form. Next, we will enter the middle level of the dream realm. After that, we will need Brother Luo He to help explore the way. Emperor Guishu looked at Luo Feng. Leave it to me. Luo Feng was full of confidence. He carried 1/10 of the energy reserves of the world's life forms, which was enough to differentiate into many clones. Buzz. Wuxin God King performed the escape technique. Because there was no formation of the two ancient countries, the speed of travel quickly increased. It was as if passing through bubbles, quickly passing through one separate space after another. According to the intelligence, the dream realm seems to be a large number of bubbles gathered, and each bubble is an independent space with different operating rules, different creatures, and different treasures. Luo Feng sighed secretly. Exploring the dream realm is like treasure hunting. Dream realm, we divide it into outer area, middle area, deep area, and dark area. Guoshu Emperor said, the deeper the dream realm goes, the deeper the impact on the mind and will. In the outer area, the will of the first level of the God King can maintain lucidity. In the middle area, the will of the second level of the God King can maintain lucidity, and the deep area requires the will of the ultimate level of the God King. As for the dark area, it can only be explored by surpassing the will of the God King. There are only a few people in the entire origin continent who have such a spiritual will. We mainly explore the middle area, said the God King Wu Xin. The four of us are all the will of the ultimate level of the God King. The Emperor Guoshu also said, Luo he is fine, but the three of us still need to be distracted to suppress the residual will of the Han Yuan bloodline. If we enter the deep area for one day, it is easy to lose control. Luo Feng nodded. The three companions all practiced the Han Yuan bloodline. And all of them are the will of the ultimate level of the God King. With the strength of the Emperor Guoshu and the God King Wu Xin, the will of the ultimate level of the God King is very normal. But Yunqian God King, as a God King of the first level, is invincible. It is very rare to have the will of the God King of the ultimate level, which is one of the reasons why she was invited to enter the Samsara building. Before Luo Feng, she was the only God King of the first level who was recruited. Another reason for her recruitment is that she has excavated the Han Yuan bloodline to a very high level. At the beginning, she was still a God King of the second level, but she lost control in an instant and caused a disaster. Later, in the torture of sometimes being awake and sometimes losing control, her mind and will finally transformed and broke through to the ultimate level of will, so that she could stay awake all the time. We have arrived at the middle area. During the chat, Wu Xin God King had already brought the team to one of the spaces in the middle of the dream domain. This is a space that is darker than the outer area. This space is vast and has countless plants growing. At first glance, it looks like a mountain forest world. It is really as the intelligence records, the deeper the dream domain is, the darker it is. The so-called dark area is completely dark. Only those who surpass the mind and will of the God King can penetrate and spy with the power of the mind. Luo Feng felt the influence of the mind and will in the middle area and was very satisfied. This kind of influence penetrates the mind in all directions, and will make the practitioner fall into it unconsciously. When being penetrated by the dream realm, practicing the great destruction refining mind method, the mind will definitely be under greater pressure and the effect will be better. Luo Feng was quite satisfied. Brother Luo He, please explore the surroundings. Guoshu Emperor said. Avoid places with many creatures in the dream realm. Wu Xinshan Wang said. Dream realm creatures are not easy to mess with. Don't worry. Luo Feng smiled slightly. Huh? Instantly, 9 black scale-armored clones were split into 9, flying in all directions, and began to carefully explore this space in the middle layer. There are many spaces in the middle layer. According to the exploration in the history of the origin continent, there are probably tens of thousands of spaces. Moreover, these spaces will continue to change over time. After 1 or 2 centuries, they will be completely changed and will not look like the past at all. Therefore, the map information in the past is useless and field exploration is required every time. According to the intelligence description, the dream creatures in the middle layer are all kinds of strange, and their strengths are uncertain. The weak ones are just ordinary god kings, and the strong ones even reach the ultimate level, but they are generally less intelligent and their moves are stupid. Luo Feng's 9 clones were all exploring. One of the clones flew in the woods, carefully sensing and observing the surroundings. He even used his invisible and formless ability to completely hide his own breath, just like an ordinary mountain, rock, or tree. What is that? Luo Feng saw a dazzling light in the distance and immediately flew closer to see it clearly. This is a tree that is completely flaming red. There is only one fruit on the tree that is swaying and emitting endless light. The fruit is also laughing. Luo Feng feels attracted when he hears the laughter. It is the light emitted by this fruit. Luo Feng feels the attraction brought by this fruit. It gives me a feeling that it should be much stronger than the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit. Is there any danger around this fruit? Luo Feng carefully explored and approached at the same time. If there is really no obstruction, pick it and run away. At the moment when Luo Feng carefully explored. Huh? A huge eye suddenly opened in the sky in the distance, and Luo Feng saw a blurry head. The size of the head is simply unbelievable. Boom! The invisible terrifying wave instantly fell on Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng only felt the endless power crushing, and this clone with about 1,000th of the energy reserve was crushed into nothingness in an instant. So weak. The huge eye in the distant sky closed its eyes and prepared to continue sleeping. Suddenly, it looked over with doubt. The area that was originally crushed into nothingness, unexpectedly, the invisible energy condensed and formed a clone again. Escape! The dream creature of the ultimate level. Luo Feng really didn't expect that in the middle area of the dream realm, the strongest dream creature was at the ultimate level of the God King, and he encountered it on his first exploration. That destructive force was simply irresistible. Luo Feng had just escaped, and another vast and terrifying force crushed him. This time Luo Feng sensed it clearly. It was a vague huge palm that seemed to press down from the sky. Luo Feng was slapped again and his body was annihilated. But every bit of power of the world's life form is full of endless life spirit and endless vitality. It is like the source of life. It naturally absorbs energy from the void and condenses again. Interesting. The huge eye was confused and curious about Luo Feng, waving its huge palm again and again. Every time Luo Feng condensed, he was madly escaping, and every time he escaped billions of kilometers in an instant. 7 consecutive slaps. The huge palm finally stopped slapping, because it had already left its sleeping range and it was too lazy to chase. Didn't chase me again? Luo Feng's clone looked back and was a little scared. He destroyed my clone 7 times in a row. Fortunately, although his power and might are terrifying, his destructiveness is not too terrible. If it was Master Dichu, the ultimate life form that destroyed the origin of the avenue, each move contained various destructive abilities. I'm afraid he would be gone after 2 or 3 slaps. My clone still has 30% to 40% of energy left. Luo Feng thought to himself. These dream creatures cannot leave the space they are in. But their strength is unreasonably strong. I don't know how Yuan created them. There are outsiders. There were as many as 15 stone monsters, each of which had the strength of the second level of the God King. They frantically chased Luo Feng's clone, and Luo Feng could only escape in a panic. Roar! Luo Feng had just flown over a lake when a bloody mouth suddenly roared in the lake. He fell uncontrollably and was swallowed into the belly of the bloody mouth. After staying in the monster's stomach for a long time, Luo Feng performed various 6 strike of mixed holes moves in it. In the end, the monster couldn't digest it and vomited Luo Feng out. Luo Feng immediately fled quickly. No wonder the God King Wuxin is very happy that I joined in. He was the one who explored the way in the past. Luo Feng now knows how difficult it is to explore the dream realm. Although God King Wuxin has the ability to hide in the sky, he is often beaten and forced to flee in a panic in front of various terrifying monsters in the dream realm. In the middle level of the dream realm, in the mountain forest space, God King Wuxin, Emperor Guishu, God King Yuntian and Luo Feng are here. Brother Luo He, you have worked hard. Come on, have a drink. God King Wuxin took out the fine wine he brought with him and poured it on his own initiative. Exploring the way is not easy, right? I was the one who explored the way in the past. Guishu and Yuntian didn't have the ability to explore the way. It is not easy. Luo Feng thought that his methods were powerful enough, but he was quite embarrassed to explore the way. The creatures in the dream realm only live in their own space, and they will not easily leave their location too far. Emperor Guishu said on the side, they are generally less intelligent, and it seems that they coexist with this space. If the wisdom is high, we can't find the treasure. Wuxin God King said. The four of them drank and talked. Of course Luo Feng's 9 clones suffered a lot. I found a treasure. Luo Feng suddenly spoke, and one of the 9 clones he sent out had a harvest. Oh! Wuxin God King, Guoshu Emperor, and Yunqian God King's eyes lit up. There are 9 dream creatures around the treasure, 3 of which are at the 2nd level of the God King, and 6 are weaker. Luo Feng said that the dream creatures do not know how to restrain their breath, so it is easy to judge their strength. You can do it. Wuxin God King laughed. Brother Luo, he is good at exploring the way, and he found the treasure so quickly. Let's go quickly, Brother Luo, he leads the way. Luo Feng, Wuxin God King, Guoshu Emperor, and Yunqian God King immediately acted together. At this moment, a team also came to the mountain forest space in the middle layer of the dream domain. This is the 7th space in the middle layer of the dream realm that we are exploring. This team consists of 7 powerful beings, led by a figure with short white hair. He has the weakest aura present, with only a Chaos Realm aura. But he is obviously the leader of the team. This space. The figure with short white hair observed the surroundings. There are 3 powerful auras. Obviously, this space has bred 3 ultimate creatures. There are also 7 areas, which should be large groups of dream creatures, and they also need to be avoided. A map appeared in the air, and 10 dangerous places were marked on the map. Juyu, you avoid these 10 locations. Explore the rest carefully. The figure with short white hair ordered. Yes, Palace Master. A winged woman responded, and immediately figures flew out from the body, and many clones flew in all directions to start investigating. The Lord of the 2 Realms Palace came from outside the origin continent. Even if he was suppressed by the supreme rules, the power of his moves was at most the upper limit of the Chaos Realm. But his realm was too high, and he could easily sneak in with the members of the 2 Realms Palace, and the 2 ancient countries were unaware. He would also bestow powerful secret weapons, and he didn't care about many treasures, which naturally attracted many ancient beings to join the 2 Realms Palace. This video will end here.